on, and I'm listening. I'm just like, always, always, but it's not always. Obviously, you're breaking up, you're getting divorced. It's not always. What the hell, right? That was how I saw this song for a really long time. Like I would listen. It's weird because like you're in the middle of this like grieving and mourning. Why should I be listening to a song that is bringing up all of this hurt, right? And reminding me of those times, reminding me of, my marriage. Why am I doing that? I think it kind of helped me really get into the grief, because I grieved. I think I cried every day for a whole year, maybe a year and a half. I cried every day.
All right. Hello and welcome to another episode of Music and Nostalgia. I am so excited to be back with you. It is I, your host, Dakara Peters, and we're here for another incredible episode. I'm really excited today, though. Like I'm always excited, but I'm really excited today because my friend, another pro podcaster, I'm not even going to say another podcaster, is actually on the show today. I was fortunate to be on her podcast. It feels like eons ago. But now here we are. I get to have her on the show, get to hear some of her stories. She's a mom. She's a superstar. She does a lot. Like she's got like several lives that she does with her partners on Instagram. She does a lot. But anyway, let me bring to you right now the queen of Mommy Oyoyo. Which name should I give them the name? My girl, Dakara, right? I have so many names that we can call, but we'll just say Amaka for you guys don't have. The rest of you can call her Anita.
Yes, thank you.
Yes. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, Tolu.
Oh, see. Yeah, see, you guys are learning about me today. Like we getting information out here. What's going on?
Not a whole lot. I'm very, very excited to be here. Very excited to be here.
Man, like so let me talk about myself real quick. Like when I got on her show, what was that, like 2019, 2020? I don't remember.
2020.
2020. Mm-hmm. I was a guest. I didn't even know my Instagram handle. She was like, so where can we find you? Like I was all over the place. And I said that I wanted to start a podcast because I've been thinking about it for a little over a year at that point. And she was like, come on. And periodically you would check on me and be like, yo, Dap, like how far? Like, or it's not Dap, Tolu, how far? Like, when are we doing this podcast that you've been talking about? And I finally pulled the trigger a few weeks ago, and here we are. And I had to get you on the show. Man, I have so many. Let me introduce the song first, right? So the song that we're going to at least kick off this episode with is by Marsha Ambrosius and Anthony Hamilton. Some of you guys are already like, ooh, I think I know what it is. And this song is As. Some of you may not know it, may not be familiar because I didn't know it, or I didn't know that I knew it until I heard it and I was like, wait a minute, this is Stevie Wonder, I'll Be Loving You Always, right?
Yeah.
But they have such a magical and magnificent touch to this song that, it's chef's kiss. It's a beautiful, beautiful song.
Yeah.
Let me ask you a question so that let's kind of start here, right? Let's say if this song was your dream car, right? Yeah. And it was taking you on a trip, where would it take you? And tell us kind of what that journey was like. So tell us the memories that's attached to this song and, just some of the things that speak to you when you hear the song, because I mean, those are two fantastically talented artists that I got to do a personal episode on one or both of them. So give us what you got.
Okay. So, the way you phrased the question, when you first said your dream car, I'm like the worst person to talk to about cars because I barely know what kind of car I'm driving. Barely. I'm not even joking. I went to Costco I think sometime last year, to change my tires, and they're like, "What kind of car do you have?" I was like, "It's gray, and I know it's a Toyota." And they're like, "Seriously?" I'm like, "Listen, I don't know cars. Okay, that's just me." My daughter, who's 4.5 years old, does better with cars than I do.
Wow.
But I will share my history with my story with the song, about the song. So let's go back to 2013. I had gotten engaged and we were planning our wedding. We got engaged on my birthday in 2013, which is a whole nother story because I practically begged this man, "Please do not propose to me on my birthday. I'm begging you with my life." And he proposed to me on my birthday, but whatever. Anyways, we start planning the wedding. I am not the most decisive person when it comes to events, right? For me, it's just whatever happens. I don't care. Is everybody having fun? Is there food? Is there music? Are there drinks?
Right.
I don't care, right? The only things I really cared about for my wedding were, I think it was my dress, photography, that I was getting married on a beach, which I did. I got married on a beach in Lagos, which at the time was very like, what? How can you do that? Right? Yeah. But then, like, I think a month to the wedding, my fiance and I still didn't know what song we were going to dance to. Right?
Okay.
And like, he would throw out some suggestions. No, I don't like those ones. I threw out some suggestions. No, I don't like those ones. I think I actually suggested, there's this one Michael Jackson song that, like, whenever I said, I don't mind dancing to a Michael Jackson song for my wedding, everyone will look at me like, what is wrong with you? How can you dance Michael Jackson at your wedding? But listen to I Just Can't Stop Loving You. It's such a beautiful song, and I love Michael Jackson so much. You know this.
Yes, we are together on this.
Thank you. I Just Can't Stop Loving You was a beautiful song, and I asked him repeatedly, and he said no, he was not doing Michael Jackson. Okay, whatever. Then one evening, we are at his place, and we're watching this movie, The Best Man Part 2, which you said is Best Man Holiday. Okay, it's just Best Man Part 2. Okay, that's how we say it. Okay.
Yeah, we agree on that.
Anyway, we're watching the movie, and in it, Maurice Chestnut's character, he has a wife and she has cancer in the movie. And I want to say it's towards the end of the movie, because to be honest, I don't remember the movie. Okay. I really don't remember the movie. I only just remember that, and spoiler alert, if you have not watched the movie, I apologize in advance, but also I'm not really sorry because you've had all this time to watch the movie. I mean, come on. And you have not watched it, it's not my fault.
It's your fault, yeah.
It's not my fault. Anyway, she dies in the movie.
Okay.
I
think I remember that.
Right. So she dies in the movie, and during her funeral scene, this song comes on. Marsha Ambrosius and Anthony Hamilton. And the song starts, and I'm like, wait, I know this melody. I know this song. Isn't it? Hey, like, did they remix Stevie Wonder's Always? Oh my goodness, they did. But this sounds so much different. Like, it sounds the same, but it sounds so different. Like, this has just, yes, Stevie Wonder has like soul and the movement and the music and everything, but this one is just like powerful. Like, what is this? And without me even needing to say anything, I looked at my fiance, he looked at me, and we just knew this is our song.
It was that moment.
It was that, like, we just knew. There was no argument. There was nothing. It was just, this is our song. And that's what we proceeded to dance to on our wedding day. It was so moving that after the wedding, my MC was like, Anita, what was that song? Because it was just so emotional for me. Like, Anita, I cried. I cried when I watched you guys, and I'm like, really? Like, listen, I chose the best song. I just chose the best song.
That is excellent. Wow. So the movie, I mean, it's unfortunate the scene that it was used in, but it's amazing that
Right.
it had you centered enough to pay attention. Because, you know, if so much else is going on, you might not hear it because you're trying to pay attention to all the other moving parts. But it sounds like that was a scene that kind of just anchored the scene in the movie so that you heard the song and it really spoke to the journey. So that's quite impressive that you found that. I didn't even know, first off, I didn't know that song was that old.
It is that old.
Yeah, like, and secondly, and I know there are people judging me like, how do you not know? How do you not know? But secondly, I'm also impressed that you guys, a month to the wedding, you guys were actually hashing it out. 2013 is when I got married. Actually a few days before your birthday, because, you know, we share a birthday weekend.
Yeah.
We're a day apart, right? So what happened? We chose our song like the hour the reception started.
What?
Yeah, and it wasn't even, and I say we chose our song, but we didn't, because we had picked so many other things. Like we picked what she was going to dance to, what song we were going to she was going to walk into at the ceremony, and all the songs we walk out to. But for some reason, we never thought about the song that we were going to dance to. Like we picked out a few songs. I remember we made some playlists. Like right now, if you go to my YouTube account, I have some songs that's like, I think I created a playlist like I Do, where we were pulling songs like, okay, maybe we'll find something that we'll utilize, or some other playlist, I don't remember. And we never went back to it. So I remember it was one of the planners. She came up to me, she said, Dapo, you guys still don't have a song to dance to. I was like, what do you mean? And so she's like, okay, do you have any ideas? I was like, no. And so literally, because we were about to enter, you know how us Nigerians, we have to like introduce every member of the wedding party and then walk in. And we ended up picking they picked one of the songs that was on the wedding website, because they were like, this is nice. I was like, okay, sure. Okay, good. And then I go in, dance in with my wife. And then when it was time for us to dance and the song comes on and I hear it, I was like, oh. I mean, like, I like the song because I love Boys to Men, but I was not prepared for that. So it didn't register. Like the song she danced, I don't even remember the name of the song, but the song she danced to with her brother because her father has passed away.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh, like there wasn't a dry eye in the
Aww.
So, you know, and I bawled out when she walked into the ceremony from just listening to the song and everything. So that one was, I was like, oh man, I was a little deflated. So I'm so glad that you guys actually worked through that process to, like, you know, to pick the song. I would have been okay with the Michael Jackson song though.
So I will tell you something. Yes, we knew our song ahead of time, but we didn't know the order of events. And a friend of his generously gifted us the programs for our wedding.
Okay.
And up to the week of our wedding, we hadn't given him the program list, like the agenda. We hadn't given the week of the wedding, you know. So I think like maybe a couple of days before. I mean, it's Nigeria, right? So you can just do things rush, whatever. So I think it was maybe like 3 or 4 days to the wedding ceremony that we gave him the program list.
Right.
And he got them done. However, the programs were delivered like at the end of the reception, so we kind of didn't need it.
Yeah.
And our wedding was like it was almost like madness, because the MC came and he's like, so where's the program? I was like, we don't have one. We don't have one. And he's like, what? I'm like, listen, just go with the flow, whatever you want, just go with the flow. I don't really care.
Wow.
I don't care.
That guy was promoting himself the whole time.
Listen, no, he had a blast. And afterwards, you know, when he was telling me about crying during the song and everything, he was like, I have to say, this is one of like the best weddings I've ever been to, because there was like, it was not rigid, you know.
Yeah.
It was just, hey, we're going with the flow. Do you guys feel like dancing now? Okay, let's go and dance. You guys want to eat now? Yeah, let's go and eat. You want to have the speeches now? Sure, let's go and do that. Like, it was just whatever happens, happened, and everyone had so much fun.
That's cool.
I guess, maybe give a plot twist now. You already know because you're my friends, but people who are listening, last week Friday, we're in January. This is what, January 20th. Last week Friday, I got the notice from my lawyer that our divorce had been finalized.
Oh.
Yeah, so our divorce is finalized. And when Tolu Dakara asked me to be on the podcast and asked what song I wanted to talk about, this was the song I wanted to talk about. My wedding song, which I guess might be weird to some people, because why do I want to talk about my wedding song when I've just gotten divorced?
Right.
Well, because it was just such an impactful song to me.
Yeah.
I remember when I first moved back to Nigeria to do NYSC, and I started blogging. That's how this whole content creation and podcasting and all these things started.
I was coming to that, so I'm so glad you mentioned that. What do you remember what year you moved back to Nigeria?
I moved back 2011, right after my sister's wedding.
Okay.
Yeah, and the plan was to just go for NYSC, which is a 1-year program, where, you know, like, we give back to the community and gain work experience as well. And by the end of that year,
and just a second. So NYSC, for the uninitiated, is Nigerian Youth Corps Services, correct?
Nigerian Youth Service Corps.
Service Corps, yeah, correct. Service Corps, yeah.
And it's a program that you complete after you're done with college, your first degree. As long as you complete college before you are 30 years old.
Right.
Yeah, because people, well, it's back then, there was this misconception that, well, I'll just wait until I'm 30 years old and then I don't have to do it anymore. No. I think we had like some 50-year-old people in my NYS account. They compare their degrees before 30. So hey.
Yeah.
Right. So I was in Nigeria towards the tail end of my NYSC year. I got a job offer. I had met my now ex-husband. Mm-hmm. Right. So decided to stay back in Nigeria. And when I started NYSC was when I started blogging, because I wanted my family and friends outside Nigeria to kind of experience NYSC with me. And I was an Ajebota, which in layman's terms, I was a privileged child.
Yeah.
I was very privileged.
Right? We were. It's all good.
Right. So I wanted us privileged people to know what the requirements were to go through NYSC and what the experience was like.
Yeah.
And after my 1 year, I started my own personal blog, Dakara.com. And I remember a blog post where I talked about, I think, something like things you shouldn't do with an ex or something. And I remember mentioning that you shouldn't call people by nicknames, because if you break up with them, then this name's just going to be stuck in your head forever. And you really shouldn't you shouldn't assign songs to, even special songs, to anybody you're dating, because when you guys break up, you can't ever listen to that song again. So don't ever assign any songs to anybody. I will tell you, at that point, I hadn't dated in like 6 years. I hadn't had a boyfriend in 6 years. So it was very easy for me to say that, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we get married. I'm dating this guy. We get engaged. We get married. Everything, and then our marriage starts to pack up. And I remember one day just thinking, like, but this song talks about loving the other person always, right. Like always. Like, I'll stop loving you when the sun goes in the opposite direction. I'll stop loving you when this and that, and I would listen to the song, right, in the throes of my marriage disintegrating. I would listen to the song and cry my entire life away. God, I cried and cried and cried. And I'll put this song on and I'm listening. I'm just like, oh man. Always, but it's not always. Obviously, you're breaking up, you're getting divorced. It's not always. What the hell? Right? That was how I saw this song for a really long time. Like, I would listen. It's weird because, like, you're in the middle of this, like, grieving and mourning. Why should I be listening to a song that is bringing up all of this hurt, right? And reminding me of those times, reminding me of, my marriage. Why am I doing that? I think it kind of helped me really get into the grief, because I grieved. I think I cried every day for a whole year, maybe a year and a half. I cried every day.
So did you feel like listening to the song was not necessarily therapeutic, but at least reminding you of some of the good times? Or what do you think it did for you?
No, it didn't remind me of the good times because there was a period where I didn't feel like we ever had any good times. And I think sometimes that happens when you're going through a divorce, right? Is that you can't remember the good times. All you're seeing is just the negativity, because that's kind of why you have gotten to this point, is the negativity, right? It was only when I looked at pictures, like old pictures, I'm like, oh, we were happy at some point. Like, we were friends at some point, And like, I remember listening to this song, I'm like, did we not love each other? I feel like we loved each other, at some point. So, like, how can we get to this point where we almost practically hate each other, right?
Right.
But I also remember, I think after, like, going through the grieving process, there was a point where I guess I accepted that my marriage was over, because I tried to work things out and everything. It just didn't happen. But I think I got to a point where I accepted that the marriage was over. But then I'm thinking about this song. I'm like, I associate this song with this man. But this song is just too beautiful. So because we got divorced, I will not listen to Marsha and Anthony again. Because me and him, we are over. I will not listen to this beautiful song again. It's a lie. It's a lie. So I will tell you that maybe once a month or so, just when I'm feeling, just in the mood, I'll listen to the song, and the song is just too beautiful. The way at the end of it, the way Marsha and Anthony's voices, like the way they're singing always, right, to each other, it's just like, oh my God, it's so beautiful. Yeah. I'm sorry, like, I'm sorry that we got divorced and everything, but I cannot sacrifice, I cannot give up this song because of you. I can't. That's where
that's amazing, because I think I've been trying to find the words to formulate the idea around the reassignment of a meaning to songs, right? Like, we have songs that can have multiple layers, and when I hear certain songs, like I did an episode where there was the hurt that came in between the song, and then 2 weeks later I'm back in love with somebody else. I reassigned the feeling and the meaning around that song. So I love that it's not something I was speculating on or imagining, but it was intentional for you too. It wasn't just one of those things where it's like you started listening to it enough and then you're like, okay, I think it's been reassigned. You were very intentional for you to say at least once a month you'd find yourself listening to it, right?
Yeah. Because it's just a beautiful song, and why not?
Absolutely. And I love the fact that you can hold it. And how do you hold that song now? Or what do you assign the song to now? Because at some point you broke it from the narrative of, oh, that was our wedding song, and that really, we were supposed to be this always forever type story. Like, how have you reassigned the song now? Like, what's a story that links? Is it Coco, which, by the way, for everybody listening, that's her daughter's nickname. So Coco, is it assigned to Coco? Is it assigned to just your relationship with your family, your circle? Like, how have you reassigned that song? Do you have any stories for that?
I haven't reassigned it.
Okay.
I've just decided that it's simply a very beautiful song. And because it's beautiful, because I love it then,
Yeah.
and I will just continue loving it for what it is.
Nice.
I don't need to have it tied to anybody in particular.
Yeah.
I guess maybe I tied it to myself.
And that's important
Maybe.
though. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's important because the love for ourselves, like at least if we can stand loving ourselves at the highest level, we're free to love again or accept love or even be welcome to other people's stories of love. So I love that. That's huge. Here's a question for you. Of all of your time since the whole process of going through the divorce and everything, have you found, what are some songs that's kind of lifted you up, or like songs that maybe have spoken to you? If there isn't, it doesn't have to be like you didn't reassign this one. You just kind of cut the direct connection to it. But are there any songs that you had to like almost supplement to say, okay, let me think in a different space when I think of this man? Because obviously when things are going wrong, like you said, all the negativity, you're probably not in a state where when you think of him or see him, like you say, hey buddy, like you're not having any of that. So like, are there any songs that you had to like say, okay, I still have a daughter that we have to a co-parent. Like, are there any songs that you kind of say, okay, let me use this to kind of clear the air for myself?
Not particularly, but sometimes I listen to some gospel songs.
Yeah.
That kind of shifts my spirit, shifts my thinking. I think that when the marriage started imploding, and I mean imploding like nuclear bomb, right? Oh. There's this song, what's her name? Tasha Cobbs and Kiera Shepherd, is that her name? God, I can't remember her. I feel like that's their names. Those are their names.
Yeah.
It's called, I think it's called Not by Spirit or something like that.
I think I know what you're talking about, but let me not dare try singing something.
Huh?
I said, let me not dare try and sing something.
Okay, yes, please don't. And also, I'm not going to try either.
Let's not spoil markets.
But that song, Not by Spirit, Not by Might, so like it's by not by might, not by power, by your spirit, God, by your spirit, God. Right, that's the song.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Not by might, not by power, right? It's by your spirit. And there was a time where during the whole grieving process, I couldn't in my own strength or power move. I just couldn't. It was, God, if you do not help me, I feel like I'm going to die. If your spirit is not pushing me forward, I think I would almost rather die. And there are a couple of times where I felt like, you know what, I think I'd rather die than live with this kind of pain. It's hard to admit, but I had a couple of those times. Right. But that song to me was very uplifting. And I probably listened to it like 5 million times. Right. Not for
you got their screams purpose. Up.
Right. And that's what I've done for Encanto. For We Don't Talk About Bruno. That's what I've done this year. That's my good deed for the year.
I was just about to say but I haven't seen that whole movie yet. So let me get my life together. Look, Tinu has played that thing but every time she plays it, I'm already sleepy and I fall asleep. So I'm failing in my movie department, and I love Disney movies, so I will fix that. Don't worry.
I'm trying to decide if we're going to still remain friends, because I'm not that fan.
We have to be. Your birthday is attached to mine, so we have to stick together. So let me ask you this: what has been the hardest part of divorce for you? Like that whole process. Obviously, that feeling that you mentioned, was that the hardest part of divorce for you, or what would you say?
Some of the hard. I don't know that one thing has been the hardest thing. There've been a lot of hard things.
Right.
One of the biggest ones was knowing that my daughter would be growing up in a home that was, they say broken, but it's not, because she has me, she has my parents, we all live in a house together. She knows her dad loves her, so her home's not broken. Right. Mm-hmm. But we had tried to conceive for 2 years before we were able to finally conceive. Mm-hmm. And like I talked about it openly on my blog, on YouTube and everything. And there are lots of people around the world who are praying for us. Yeah. And then we finally get pregnant and we are breaking up. Mm-hmm. And it's like, wait, so we are really bringing this child in, this child that we prayed for, this child that we suffered for.
Right.
We are now bringing her in for us to split up. Like, are you kidding me? You've got to be kidding me. So for me, that was hard. Like, I would really just sit down and cry and think about, oh my God, my child is going to grow up in a home that her parents are not together. Because literally, like, I almost hate to admit it, but we were even fighting in the hospital before I left after giving birth. We were fighting in the hospital. That's how bad things were. Things were really, really bad. So, like, moving past that, thank you. Moving past that, that was really difficult. But then, like, a friend of mine and I have talked about, going through a divorce is like death. It's like going through death, because it's the death of the life that you planned with this other person. It's the death of the dreams that you had with this person. Like, we had planned that we would have 2 children, and it was going to be a girl first and then a boy next. And we had a name picked out for who our son was going to be. Right. And I remember crying sometimes, like, so you're telling me that this our son, Astra, like, he's not going to exist. Like, what is this? What is this? You know? And then there's the thing of, you know, thinking back to yourself, like, did I make such, like, was I stupid in marrying this person? And I'm sure the other person is thinking the same thing about me. Right? Like, I will never ever purport to be like, oh, I'm the innocent party here, or whatever. We're both guilty, you know. But thinking back, like, should I have made this choice? Maybe I should never have married this person. Maybe I should have waited for somebody else. Maybe, you know, it's just a bunch of maybe, and it's just, listen, life happened.
All right.
Life happens. I can't go back to 2012 when I met him and say, no, I want to unmeet him. I can't unmeet him. I can't unmarry him. I can't have a child with him. I can't do any of that. It's just, okay, well, how do we move forward now? Thankfully, our co-parenting relationship has gotten much better than it used to be. It used to be terrible. But things are much better now. They're not where I want them to be, but they're much better now. So, yeah, I had some very, very hard times, but, you know, you move.
know, I love your, sorry for cutting you off a little. I love what your podcast has done in your blog, because it has done what's counter to the traditional Nigerian habits, like telling what's going on and trying to conceive and difficulty in marriage and divorce. Like, because, you know, in the Nigerian circles, like, all of that is automatically your fault. Like, it doesn't matter what he's done, but in that space, it's always automatically like, what did you do to him? Like, why didn't you let him, you know, like, all of those things automatically become the narrative. And it's unfortunate, it's disturbing. But I'm so glad that, one, I know some of your support, like, so you got good people around you. Like, you got great love, right? Like, you did a, was it a reel? I think it was a reel the other day where you're like, who's your family, or who's your community?
Who's your village?
Who's your village? Oh yeah, village people, right? And like and as I'm looking, I was like, you know, it's crazy because I identify, like, I count myself as part of that village too. You know, I'm a village. So, you know, it's like, so I'm looking at the list, and for me, it's like, I can actually list off some of those names as you're going through that, because again, that's your community. And one of the things that I really try to touch on here is about community, because a lot of times we experience things in life and we think that we're the only one. And back to why I love your podcast, because it actually touches on things that a lot of people might think they were the only ones dealing with. When you talked about difficulties conceiving, just to hear about people saying you liberated me in helping me realize that it wasn't just me, and with prayer and faith and continuous consistent journey towards the goal, that you can eventually get there. And God bless you guys with Coco. Like, no matter what happened between the two of you, that, if nothing else, is a beautiful anchor that there was good that was happening.
No, she's for sure a blessing. So, like, the biggest miracle in my life.
She's hilarious too.
Yeah, she's funny.
I saw the video the other day of her on the computer pretending to be you or something. I was like, Lord, so at least we don't have to ask what mommy does for work, because we see her.
Like, I literally do. I was working on typer, and then I looked at her, and there she is, like, on her own little computer typing. I was like, oh God, I have to capture this on video. I just have to. And then right after she was done working, she made sure to come and tell me that Mommy, you're not the boss of me, right? I'm the boss of me. And wow. I'm like, okay. Don't you remember when you said, because her cousin had told her that she was the boss of Coco, and Coco came to tell me, I was like, no, Coco, nobody's the boss of you. You're the boss of yourself. So that came back to haunt me. And now she tells me every day that I'm not her boss.
Listen and learn, Mommy. Now you know.
I will.
So I will say, I do want to go to something you mentioned earlier in the chat here. You said something about going to Nigeria and doing NYSC. Can I tell you that was, to me, considered one of the bravest things ever, right? Because when did you come to the States? Do you remember what year?
1997.
Okay, 97. So you came a year after me. I came in 96, well, December of 95, so 96. And so after being here for that stretch of time, for me, I'll just be real, I was already the Ajebo, like I was the Ajebota of all Ajebotas, I didn't even go to hard life boarding school or anything like that. I went to Hillcrest and Joss, the life. So coming from that and then coming to the States and then going back to Nigeria for me was like, I've already been for years been told by Nigerians that I was meeting, because we didn't even talk about how we met, right? But we met through the Nigerian reunion events, right? I don't even remember where. I don't know how we gelled and became paddies. I don't remember the specifics, but I just remember that every year we would seek each other out. I'd be like, if I don't see Anita at the time, and then once I was welcome, then it was, if I don't see Amaka this year, there's a problem.
All right.
That's how we just kind of merged into this friendship that now going on probably 15, 16 years or whatever it is.
Yeah. I think we might be coming up on 20 years in the next couple of years.
Yeah. So and that's how we met. And I remember meeting people at the reunion, and some of them who had been here longer than me in the States at that time would be like, oh, you're so American. And I'd be like, oh gosh, I can't even be like an Ajebo. I was now American. They weren't even saying I was part Nigerian. I was like, geez. So when you went back to Nigeria, I was so inspired to follow your blog for that reason, so that I could at least say, okay, I know somebody else that's been here in the States just as long as me, and going back to Nigeria and didn't die. You could survive.
Right.
So that for me, that was massive. And I don't know if you know that for me was liberating, that it's I can eventually go to Nigeria and find my way and survive. And I've been able to now go, even though I'm not there permanently, I'm there quite often. But part of it was folks like you that decided I'm going to go touch base at home and not just do Christmas, which is, that's
right.
The life.
That's the standard thing. For me,
right.
The reason why I even moved back was I wanted to experience Nigeria as an adult. I knew Nigeria as a child, and right. Sheltered and everything. I wanted to be in Nigeria as an adult and navigating. I almost want to say it my own way, but of course, Daddy was helping me too.
Of course, hard life. But
I wanted that experience to know what Nigeria was like as an adult, and I loved it. I enjoyed myself while I was there. I
I
wouldn't go
could
back.
tell. I was
Yeah.
even envying you, like, maybe me too, I should go. Like, let me.
You know what's funny? A lot of people here didn't realize when I moved back to the States. A lot of people, like as late as last year, people were still asking me, like, are you visiting? I'm like, what do you mean? I've been back in the US since 2016.
They're not special. They're not special on the inside like some of us.
Yeah, not, and also they're not paying attention because I'm very vocal about my life. Like my dad says, I tend to overshare. I have a little tidbit, yeah. So you know how I'm talking about, the song with Marsha and Anthony, and the song was tied to my marriage and all of that.
Yeah.
It's funny that I was able to cut that song away from my ex-husband.
Yeah.
There are some songs with a couple of exes that I will not listen to this day.
Wow.
Because those songs remind me of those exes, and I'm just like, I don't even want to touch it. I don't want to touch it. That's just not even, because the minute those songs come on, it's like, I'm going back to those relationships. Now, when I listen to Marsha and Anthony, I'm not thinking about my ex-husband. Yeah. I'm really not. It's just I'm listening to a song that I love that's beautiful. But there are other songs that will come on and immediately I'm thinking about this person. I'm thinking about that person.
That's actually quite amazing because that's selective in a sense, because you could have found a way on those other songs, but there's also a different tie between the ex-boyfriends and ex-husband. So there was depth to this, and you really you had to be intentional and did the work to shift. And the song was so beautiful. It was like, will I waste this song on this guy? Because so I love that.
You know what? He's a lovely guy. Other people can have whatever songs they want to have for him. So this one is mine. I'm taking custody of the song. Okay. I'm taking custody of the song. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, right. It's your song now. That's good stuff.
Right.
So, are there any songs Coco related? Because that's not about Bruno. Lord, let me not even talk about that movie because I'm spoiling the name now. But are there any Coco songs?
There are no Coco songs. However, okay. My child knows the first few lines to Buy Me a Drink by T-Pain. Because, right, she knows the first, and it didn't even click to me until the day she sang the words back to me, because I would always, like, when I see her, like, baby girl, what's your name? Let me talk to you. Let me buy you a drink. For me, the first thing I'm singing is baby girl, but then once I sing baby girl, I have to sing the rest of it. And then one day I sang, baby girl, what's your name? Let me talk to you. And she goes, let me buy you a drink. 3 years old.
What drink? What drink?
Like, what do you know about drinks? What do you know about drinks?
Now I know what song to sing to her the next time we see each other. I'm gonna just go in and be like, baby girl, and leave it for her.
Listen, if she hears that song anywhere, she'll stop like, like, how do you know this song? This is my mommy and me song. What are you doing?
Right. Okay. So that's her song for you. Like that's
my song for her.
Yeah,
right.
That's dope. Okay. At least now I know. I'm gonna blast that song the next time I come to your village, because you people are far.
No, you are the one in the village. I'm sorry.
No, sorry. I'm in Georgia. You're in what? Is it Alabama or Tennessee? Because
it's Tennessee, but also no, because like you're like in the boondock. Like I don't even like you live like on a farm or something.
I remember. Oh man, like I remember when I used to come to your side at that time. Like you guys didn't have any malls. You didn't have any stores of significance near you. You people you would be like, we're going to the city.
Whatever.
I remember
Whatever.
what I don't remember what birthday it was, but I came, joined you guys at the Mediterranean restaurant or something
The
like that.
Persian restaurant.
Persian restaurant. Oh my
That was
goodness.
fun.
That was a lot of fun. Like you've always had a live crew around you. So we knew it was about to be lit. It was a
We
lituation.
try.
So we had like a good time. And so it's crazy to go out that far. And now you people have stores and you have gas stations and you have street
No,
lights and things like that.
We had all those things before. Just whatever. Or whatever.
We didn't see it. Like it wasn't available to regular people. You people
You
knew
need
the
to
corners.
see in the future. You need to see beyond.
Yeah, clearly.
Clearly.
So let me ask you about Mommy Oyoyo a little bit. Because Mommy Oyoyo is not only a podcast. Do you have like a blog attached to it still? Are you still blogging? Like what do you have around your podcast right now?
So it's really just the podcast right now. There is a blog and post. It's really just where I put my show notes on.
Okay.
I started Mommy Oyoyo in 2019, I believe, after thinking about starting this podcast for like 8 months and not doing anything. I was telling everyone, like, I want to start a podcast. And the reason why I wanted to, so Mommy Oyoyo is a phrase that the local kids in Nigeria, like when their moms come home from work or from going to the market or running errands or whatever, just Mommy Oyoyo, Mommy Oyoyo, Mommy Oyoyo.
Right.
So I wanted that aspect because I wanted to have a podcast about motherhood.
Yeah.
But I wanted it to be from an African voice. I enjoyed listening to podcasts. And at the time, I was hearing a lot of podcasts about motherhood, but not from someone like me.
Yeah.
It was all, the Caucasians or like the African Americans.
Yeah.
And I wanted to be able to tell our own stories as African women, as African mothers.
Right.
I saw that there was a gap and decided, you know what, I'll be the one to do that. I don't mind sharing my stories and sharing my experiences. Like you mentioned, I talked about trying to conceive on my blog and on my YouTube channel. So I'm not afraid. I don't shy away from hard topics or taboo topics. In my mind, it's like they keep trying to silence us. We're not supposed to talk about the hard things of motherhood.
Right,
African mothers are supposed to be all, oh yes, I want to have like 10 children, and oh, motherhood is like the best thing that ever happened to me, and oh yeah, motherhood is not hard and all that. And that's a bunch of crap. It's a lie, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't mind being that person to bring our stories. So I've done that.
What encouraged you to do that? What encouraged you to be that person?
No, I just saw a gap and decided to be there, to be that one.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, I just really wanted our stories to be heard.
Yeah. And was it an easy journey starting it?
No, it wasn't. Like I said, it took me 8 months from the beginning. Like when I started having the idea of a podcast, it took me 8 months to actually do anything.
Right.
So I had the idea, and just sat on it. And then one day I'm like, let me see if I can come up with topics for this supposed podcast, and let me see if I have something there. Right. And I started writing out topic ideas, and before I knew it, I think I had like 40 topics for different episodes, and I'm like, I think I have something here.
Yeah. This
might actually be a thing. And then I think I posted on my Instagram that I might be interested in starting a podcast. And this one girl, Bolanle, she sent a message like, hey, have you bought the domain name? I was like, I'm just thinking about having a podcast. She said, buy the domain name. I'm like, but just buy the domain name.
Wow.
So I bought the domain. I got the Google, I got the Instagram handle, all of those things. And they sat with me for 8 months while in my mind, I'm just planning.
Yeah.
Oh, I want it to be perfect. Oh, I don't know what kind of mic I don't know what platform to host the podcast on.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I don't know this and I don't know that. And I spend so much time thinking, planning, just like you did. Remember me and you chat
Yes.
back
Yes.
and forth,
Yes.
right? And then one day, I think it was like a few days after Coco's second birthday party, I think a second birthday party, I was in my bedroom and I said, you know what, Amaka, you have been thinking about this podcast since last year. I have not done anything. I grabbed my phone, I grabbed Anchor, signed on, hit record, talked for I think 10, 12 minutes, hit publish, posted it. I went to Instagram. Hey guys, I have a podcast. It's called Mommy Oyoyo. And that's where it is. Right now we're up to 69 episodes.
Hey.
And hoping to hit 100 episodes this year. My 100th episode this year. So
that's inspiration for me right there.
You'll get there. Like
I've
you're on a roll.
Already done 5.
You are on a roll. Every time I see a notification, I'm like, did he not just start this thing like 2 weeks ago? What is this? Like, what was all these? What's Tolu feeling like? A podcaster? Better stop this nonsense.
I'm so impressed. Like I was already impressed with content creation, but now that I've actually entered the space, I'm like, wow, how do you guys do it on a regular basis? Like, wow,
it's a lot of work.
Impressive. I mean, just to look at how some people are like just spewing out content and it all flows. Like you people don't have rest. Like how are you at 2 a.m. just right? And
you're doing it.
It's the process now, and I'm learning that it's in me. Like even coming up with like the name and stuff like that, I was like, this is workable. How can I? And the more I'm in it, I'm learning that there's a possibility to do more and be really creative with it. So, but from the outside looking in, it was always like, oh, wow, those guys are really good. That was my thinking. And you guys are, for everybody that I've seen do some great work. Brilliant.
Thank you. And you're doing amazing too. And I was really, really impressed when I saw the YouTube. I was like, he's not just doing like audio podcasts, he's doing video. But even me in my 70 episodes, I've not done video. I'm just like,
don't worry. We're going to get together. I need to make sure we get you going on the visual as well. We're going to, I want to be on, look, I was on episode 40, is it like 45 or 46 or something like that? I was on, and I was so excited about being on your episode, and it was so cool because I was like, maybe a couple of people will catch it because you already have an audience. But the feedback I was getting, like folks were sending me messages on Instagram like, wow, you did a really good job. I was like, what, me? I was like, oh shucks, but that's just because I was on her show and I was questioning whether I could actually go out there and do one on on my platform as my own podcast. But now I'm starting to learn that, listen, there's a guy out there that does he's on Instagram and all he does is sings the alphabets A, B, C, D.
Oh yeah, that guy. He's the alphabets of the numbers.
The numbers. He does, like he'll say, happy birthday to you, Snoop Dogg, happy birthday. And he does that, but he has an audience, right?
Yeah.
And he's just out there having fun. He's probably goofing around with that, and now it's a source of income for him. He's the notoriety and all of that stuff. And for me, it's like I wanted to just do something where, because I used to do some acting, stage stuff, and I always loved being on stage, and I just never was creative on that side, and I hadn't done anything. I was like, I need something to just at least give me a bit of an outlet. And so when I see your podcast and I see other people putting out podcasts and stuff, I thought, at least let me just enjoy it. And I'm learning that there's so much room to create. And my proudest moment was my dad. He was like, "You didn't send me this week's podcast yet. Like, I'm waiting." And this was week 2 or 3. And I was like, "Oh, I'm sorry." He was like, I was like, "Did you subscribe?" He's like, "Yeah, I did." I was like, "Just go, when you go back into YouTube or Apple, it'll let you know." He's like, "Okay, sorry, I didn't check that," because he had done listened to a couple of podcasts here and there, but he is like so enamored in this, and I think that
I love that
so much because my pops, that's like, I call him BP, he calls me DP. So like, we're, like, people be like, yeah, Nigerian, and you're saying, do you have manners? Are you well? But like, he and I get to talk on so many levels, and the friendship that we've developed wasn't like that as a kid, because as a Nigerian kid, I was just afraid of my dad. That was the only role that was really there. Afraid of him, and then come ask for money sometimes. But growing up, like, we've developed a friendship, and I've gotten to ask him the hard questions too. Like, maybe one day I'll try to get him on an episode. But just to know that we have that friendship and that relationship now as adults, like, we can talk business, we can talk family, and futures and stuff like that. This is helping me see that it's not limited to just when we talk business or other family stuff.
Yeah.
He's like sitting there.
I'm glad that he's listening and that he can give you feedback and that he's enjoying it.
Yeah.
And honestly though, like, you're doing so well. You're doing really, really well. I'm very proud of you.
Thank you.
Very, very proud of you.
I appreciate it.
And I know how much we talked about, like, what topic would you have for the podcast? Remember, like, there was the third culture thing as well.
Yeah.
That you actually tried to, and then it wasn't flowing and gelling for you.
Yeah.
Right. But this one just seems to like just be your fits.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that you found your fits and you're doing it and you're enjoying it and you're just pushing it. So I'm very proud of you.
Madam, you're making me sweat here. But so what's really cool is that third culture theme is still within the podcast. So I couldn't build it as a standalone, but I've been able to have real conversations
right
through this podcast where I wouldn't have been able to, because it's easy for us to talk about music. And here we are. I don't know how long we've been on, and you need to
like an hour.
Right? I don't. Like, we need to shut it down. But it's just so exciting. Like, you and I have had long conversations like this before anyway, where we're so like locked in with each other. And I love that we can do this on this kind of a platform so that your friends, your circle can see that the versatility they see in you is it's in every space, like even jumping on somebody else's podcast. I know you've done it for other people, so there's nothing new. So, you have that versatility, and I love the fact that you're out here, still firing off, and I'm enjoying this. I can't wait. Hopefully, you'll get enough of an audience from this that you'll be like, yeah, I'll come back for another episode so we can do something else again. But I love the fact that you're here.
Sure. Listen, when I come back, we have to talk Michael Jackson.
Oh, facts. Like
all things Michael.
I've been holding off on it. Like, I have 2 really great books on Michael Jackson that I'm like, I can't wait to do this episode. So when that time comes, I'm down. Like, we will rock that one.
Let me just give a little bit of my love for Michael. Just add a little bit.
Do a little, small, just small. I'm so excited. Before we end this, do you have any final thoughts? I know we jumped all over the place. There are probably some other questions that we could have asked, but there'll be a part 2. Like, whenever we have another opportunity, we can talk about some other things. But do you have any final thoughts that you want to share with your listening audience before we shut it down?
What do I want to say to the audience? I don't know. Just keep enjoying music. Music is part of the soul of life. Just whatever it is that you enjoy it.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
Everyone loves, I think everybody loves music, no matter what genre it is. Enjoy, you do you.
Yeah, indeed. Well, you guys heard it. Happy that you got to hear eavesdrop on our conversation. We've been friends for so long that this is not unusual. What I'm looking for you guys is to take this episode, take the content. If you're going through some kind of challenges, find a way to pull yourself out of it. If it's through the right songs to get your mind in the right place, or if it's by talking to somebody. We didn't even talk about that, but if it's seeking counseling, I know I've gone to counseling for quite a while. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it helps to clear the clutter. So don't feel like you're alone in any situation. I think it's essential that we address things head on and be honest about whatever it is. And remember that no matter what path you're on, no matter what the end result is, that the joy truly is in the journey. So don't let yourself go. Thank you guys for joining us again. Look forward to having you on the next episode. But don't forget, subscribe, follow, like, share. We need everybody to hear about this episode. Oh, before we go, where can we find you? I almost forgot. Where can we find you on the socials?
You can find me at Mommy Oyoyo, MommyOyoyo on Instagram. Twitter is like, and I think Facebook. And also my personal Instagram is Berry Dakara, which is BerryDakara.
Okay.
I'm there on Instagram. I have a YouTube channel as well that I'm trying to push back into existence. And also my blog, berrydakara.com, which I'm also trying to bring back as well. But we shall see. That's where you can find me. I'm kind of fun. Just a little bit.
A lot. We'll make sure we put the handle for at least the Instagram on the screen so that we can find you. Thank you again. I appreciate your time. Let's go enjoy life. Go find some music to lift your spirits. The joy is truly the journey. Peace.
I had a blast. Thank you, darling.